Even though SAO is the drought that we stifle in general terms. The only way to turn the tide is this. But think that. Maybe this can tie us up. It is so naive that the King of France supports the current. According to his voice, 2 shields appeared around 10 people. They're constantly spinning around him. It just blew away the fog in the neighborhood. They can protect around him. Avoid the enemy sneaking. And then there's the 100 soldiers dance. Let the sword appear around. It creates a layer of defense as well as a landscape. When he had arranged everything, he shouted, "Come on, even the tiger doesn't think that much." He didn't intend to take advantage of this fog. To attack Australia. Move the scene to the frequency side. He just went inside. Then the god inside asked, "Why did you change the plan?" Radio frequency quickly respond. Ha Nam Dao appeared 2 players beyond the forecast. If we don't accelerate, the tiger won't last long. Don't get excited and take advantage of him. Block the upstream return code. After listening to the sword, I thought. Speak up after a while. Maybe, but we still need some time on our side. After the conversation is over, the sun is once again outside. Looking at the fog in front of him, he fell into a deep depression. The labyrinth won't hold them for long. We have to think differently. Okay, just like that. When he finished, he snapped a finger. The bodies were hanging from trees in the academy. Disappear immediately. I looked at them as they left. To multiply and then repel the living things around. The people hiding in the fog immediately joined in. Obeying orders is the time. The kingdom and the devil are not yet bound together. The fire of human civilization, almost extinguished in their hands. They're called demons. It's what the fairies of all things do. The enemy of man. Unique formula into a special mode of reproduction. Make them attract the attention of the disaster. And wonder from the moment they were born. That's right, the devil has no reproductive organs. They're breeding tricks, beloved master. Based on emphysema. More specifically, the person they bite will get infected and turn into a demon in a few breaths. To a few hours. It's because of this unique form of reproduction. Before people find a cure. If you let them grow like this, it's a natural disaster. It's really dangerous. A demon corpse if not handled properly. It will lead to the destruction of an entire village. The 10 demons. If not handled properly, the whole town will be taken care of. The devil if not destroyed immediately. Then an entire city will become a hunting ground for demons. If the number of demons grows to over 1,000. The consequences are hard to imagine. The thing that was called out to me before was the devil. He is currently surrounded by countless demons. Apart from the ones that came before, who was surrounded by him with bandages, is hidden in the fog. There are hundreds of others. This is exactly what the demons have produced. He looked at the demons around him. The devil also leads out. Finally, how many tricks has the master arranged in Liaothan? While you are. When I stood there, the devil came to me. You guys escaped. We've solved it. He stood in front of him and said, "Thank you without you. We still have to waste some time to go catch those fish in the net. If you go back and forth like that, it will be late." The devil laughed and laughed. Then Qin was in the academy. Stare at something in your hand. In amazement uttered. When our demons were released, they were all destroyed. Not dry items, spring flakes, it's the north. But only based on the north. It is impossible to destroy all demons. That we can release. That person is helping him. Qin's original plan. I want to use the devil. To tempt seriously Hoa, dry-use item spring foam covered the whole city. That's what made him pay attention. Scarier than Kier. But with the help of the devil. That's what made his plan 7. Move the scene to the dance. After the battle. Waiting forever without seeing the enemy attack. He is now filled with confusion. Still OTSAO. When is the man's patience became so good? Right now, behind him, inside the fog. Suddenly, something flew in. It's based on the 100 soldiers around. The weapon was immediately felt. The enemy just moved him. He turned around a bit. After seeing that what he had slashed was a centipede, then he's incredibly surprised. Don't give him time to think. Behind his back, outside the shield, appeared another centipede. Then a powerful explosion happened. He stood on the roof and laughed coldly. I've met the same type of opponent too many times. Fools know how to deal with it. Can't be denied. The real minister. It's a top-level defensive and offensive trick. However, it requires too much energy to sustain. Even the descendants of the Tosh. People who have great luck and enlightenment. You can't use it to fight. In a long battle. Our side is different. This thick fog helps us hide our identity. And you put up a place full of obstacles. To prevent recovery. It's good to make it easier for us. Comfortable to move. We can absolutely use our centipedes. To consume your energy. Until you can no longer maintain your rank. Boy, you are dead. It's time to look at the situation below. Behind his back. Suddenly, there was a sound. I found you and looked back in horror. I can't see the reaction. The body was cut to pieces by the enemy. He couldn't understand until he died. Uttered, it's impossible. This fog can isolate your consciousness. How could you find me again? She looked at the body in front of her smiling face. Maybe it's because we're so sensitive to Ed. Watch the body for a moment. He just woke up. So Ra is a 7-legged centipede. I don't blame them for using weapons. He was looking at the body. Then he suddenly reached out his hand. Caught a black rope nearby. Watch as the rope stretches into the fog. He was a little uncertain. He is with Kier, Sao. Doubt in his heart, did not think much. Body image directly variable. Lost at the chase, chasing the black rope, Kier. At the bottom of the underworld, Vu is now back in front of 10 good people. 10 good looks at him, incomprehensible question. How did he find Kier again? Because they don't have the same skills as before. So he changed people in the middle of the road, so that the evil lie could change. Listen to the 10 questions. He pointed to the stone table and asked, do you see that black rope? 10 directions. His hand is close to the table. Look back, nod. I can't wait to see Vu begin to explain. That's the red string of fate. Black is tough. In the age of evil. The king and his officials. It's all based on this string of fate. To determine whether it's compatible or not. To the evil lie who used to be the king's bodyguard. Finding the rats. There's malice lurking in the dark. By going through this string of fate, it can be said that the school, 10 good listening, the face immediately became excited. So that's what we can learn. This seems to be working very well for me. If you listen to that, you can stroke your chin. Under the waiting eyes of 10 goodness, he answered with a bright smile. When the devil comes back, ask him yourself. I don't know he either. 10 good listening, then turned to stone stupid place. Not long after the evil left. The body is in limbo again. Into countless small centipedes. At the same time on the other side of the city. The soul is here. To cure the giant cold star. He was severely punched. And suddenly, he was amazed. My body's been destroyed. Sao martial artist name using Kier. Have the ability. It kills my body right away. My copy hasn't been fixed yet. The body can't fight back. Then our being is even less effective. And then again, he fell back into the trap. After a while, he called out to Ra, a contact insect, said, "Martial artist uses Kier. It's gone your way. We can't stop him. Pray for yourself." Recovery. He is now in the temple of his god. When I heard the sound of the water, I was angry. I know you are basic. It's not credible. It's very strong. But the result is good. To take a moment. I can't do it either. I heard him scream at the top. The other side speaks again. There is a time of anger. Not by doing your job well. Lord Kier can smoothly descend, or not. You have to see your next show. The tiger's suit snapped its teeth furiously. You don't have to say. Then throw the sound to the side. Start reciting the mantra. We want sentient beings, but they're difficult. Now burn the hands of the Buddha to wake up the great magic. They are Buddhas in their hearts. Memory finished. He pointed a finger at the candle in front of him. The fire above the candle. He quickly followed his fingers. On the other side, touch the wind 2 feet. After recovery. Then quickly turn to the direction before and run away. Just running and thinking. After the Arahant was beaten up by the Kier teenager. The enemy in the city. Maybe only kin is left. Because it's related to the magic of my life. And that name has also formed cause and effect. In this way, you can use corn. There may be a lot of people in. The city has not been evacuated. I can't use it for a long time. Then use the yang wheel. Side. Now, the tree doesn't stop yawning. Since the Kier copper pillars were destroyed. The atmosphere here is so quiet. It's when he gets depressed. Then suddenly, there's movement in the sky. Suddenly, a bright light appeared above. Flying straight into the fog. This golden light, a straight line towards the wind station that FLIs to. The wind station saw it coming. He quickly reached out his hand and caught it. This is one of the swords. In his sword box. The sword has arrived. He threw himself in the neck and killed himself. What he's going to build out is corn in the VI-10 area. After suicide, the fire of life in him instantly died out. The body stood still in the fog for a moment. After a while, his body slowly moved again. The fire of life in his body. It's flaring up again now. It also carries with it an extremely bright light. The wound on his neck has now healed. This is a sign that Yang Luan is looking for his sight. Prepare to appear. Yang Luan's word, the spirit of expression according to this shout. His body quickly changed. The whole body is covered in a layer of Venus. Behind, there's also 2 bat wings that are condensed out of the aurora. He's like a sun god now. Body transformation done. He looked in a different direction. I'm a little unsure that Ra is in the Kier Sao. After determining for a moment, he quickly pierced through the fog. Fly that way. Move to the lowest level of the world. Tran Hung prison, of all things. He is currently sitting inside Li Dong's house. Listen to him impart the principles of law. There are 3 types of phonetic solar neutralization. And so on in clouds. Chen Hung heard him explain these things. There is no way to practice mindfulness. After a moment, he opened his eyes and looked at him. Do you have any great learning that is both fast and easy to use? People's peace is really. Before he finished speaking, Li Dong interrupted him. What are you folding? Our Tao Tao is the Tao Tao. The main pursuit is to accumulate gradually. The stronger the later, trying blindly to be quick and strong. It's no different than a Taoist or a Taoist. Tran Hung impatiently shouted. But we don't have much time. Li saw his attitude. He also does not hold the attitude of high-minded people anymore. Open your eyes and give him a fight. But this, I know how to scratch cats. You can boast. Don't get a few gifts from the masters of the world of things. And the devil. I felt that my talent was very good. Right? You have the power to prolong your life. You know you're not going to die anymore, right? To the sutras of the sect. I no longer see it in my eyes. Jen saw him so angry. Quickly put the head. The teacher did not mean that at all. Only students can wait. But the people in Liao City can't wait. The current need is force. I immediately ask for forgiveness. The police have now stood up again. Turn around and clasp your hands to make a noble appearance. Sigh. Ignorance and impatience will pay the price. God, today, I can give you strength through the seasons. But tomorrow, it can also cause all kinds of accidents. To get back what was given to you, you see yourself. Where is it like a man without a wooden body? The heart belongs to someone else. The air is no different than the dead. Learn and use indiscriminately. The gas and blood in the body are mixed. There is no trace of the transmission. Tai Bar 2. Tran Hung heard him teach for a while. Then raise your head and say out loud. Students know it's wrong. Li Dong now bowed his head and looked at him smiling. Don't you go wrong? To get so much enlightenment, they learn and use it so quickly. It can almost be tough. Like the Kier disaster incarnations. I'm glad I didn't even have time. Who can blame you? Tran Hung heard the insinuating words inside. Immediately hit the head. The students really knew they were wrong. Students should not be arrogant. Should not be illusory. The teacher is the one who solves the problem. I heard him say these words. Fall back in. After a while, he held out his hand. Son, I only said once. Listen carefully. What this world will become. It's up to the 6 heads of Kier. How do you want it to be? You want to save my people. But at your current level, you are completely incapable to wrestle with the crazies. I want to change the world. The kind of big thing. Decide the decline of a dynasty in this world. Who sits on the throne? And the fairies behind him. How will they make a decision? Maybe it's not that hard to guess. When you hear these words, you understand verse 2. His eyes widened and he should not speak. Li Dong also did not pay attention to him, clasping his hands. You cannot protect the people of the city. It is because you are too weak. Your strength. I can't resist your will. In this world, only the strong can decide for themselves. The weak only obey. If you really insist, I will also be able to teach you some great lessons. It works quickly. But for you, a person who has more enlightenment than suffering, the base was not solid. This whole life can only stop here. Turn the scene to the battle in Liao City. Strictly right now, he's still using magic to deal with the demons. After dealing with a bunch of demons, the devil came next to him and said, the first is to create fog and a maze that covers half the city. Then things out the demons. That the number can increase. In an extremely fast way. We have to use the army to suppress to avoid proliferation. It's a continuous series of operations like this His intentions can be said to be very clear. Listen to the devil here. Seriously, he turned his head to look at him. After a while, the two of them said out loud, "He's stretching his time. Strictly in my head right now, I'm stuck. But I really don't think that's the case. What does it mean to do this? It started when the demon lord was next to me. Join the war. At the moment, the stray cannon is destroyed. Condition. He relies on the advantage of being the master of the battlefield. To kill me. It's gone, and it goes on like this. Our advantage will increase." While he was thinking, there's a glass next to it. The two demons looked at the glass in amazement and asked, "The glass on the other side is ours." He quickly handed out his hand to catch the pigeon. Fly out from within. Glass landing. That's right. The information this time sent by the Emperor was, the fog is problematic. When you finish reading, put your hands to your mouth. Take a bite, write on a piece of paper with fresh blood. Then give it back to the pigeons. The Emperor is on the other side. He received love very quickly, strictly transmitted too. When he read the contents, his eyes closed. The content inside is correct. This fog has the effect of isolating consciousness. The Emperor thought a moment later. Call out loud to the body. He just called. In the background, there is an immediate appearance. Kneeling there, the Emperor quickly delivered. Go quickly and get the magic gas used to remove the fog. Even if you break the battle, prepare the upper side to carve the sword. This man belonged to the Emperor of the 12 colonies. On the other side of the city, at the same time, the station transformed itself into the sun god, still flying in the fog. Right now, the mouth on his face was screaming again. You are crazy. There's no need to risk your life. Do you know? If you are defeated by 7, I will also be involved and die. The wind station did not respond, but asked in amazement, how do you know the mechanism of the corn? I will die. The mouth quickly answered. The Buddha didn't make us that simple. In addition to encouraging you to follow my Buddha, there's another effect. That's to explain your trick to the Buddha. When the battle comes to a standstill, just before fighting the Buddha, you changed your moves too quickly. We haven't had time to work. The Buddha teased my mother. After listening to his explanation, he nodded. That's what Ra is, the mouth screams. Don't beat the drum. What are you thinking about? Not to the point of being cornered. Do we have to risk our lives like that? Calm Wind Station replied. You don't understand the man in the red. The pressure he's put on us. It is much bigger than your master Buddha. I left Than Shou, where it became his province. The power that's already dwindling. If we don't start Cornfield VI a little early. It's about participating in that battle. There's no more. The crux of this battle for the city. It's based on the old man's fight. And that, Master Sun Yin. Whoever wins will win the whole thing. My job is to try my best. Create an opportunity for the old man to defeat his opponent. In the tiger's temple, after letting the fire burn on his hands. Then again quickly remember. The decision is based on magic, volition, and natural body. The light that illuminated the countless worlds. According to him, France, there's another magic of being. Has been activated to bring down to this world. After a moment of recovery, open your eyes again. He clasped his hands laughing excitedly. There's this immortal gold body. The sword in this world. They can't hurt me anymore. He remembered earlier. Cho was beaten by a dancer who escaped without death. Wash your neck and wait. That damned little devil and the martial artist behind him. Ha ha ha, at the same time evil lie. In the body 10 benevolent. Has Levin follow the harsh rope gear. Go outside the temple to worship the tiger. Induce the enemy's gas for a moment. He just opened his mouth. Dance or you come. What's in this house were capable of fighting back. Dance at the bottom of the underworld. Hearing that, his face sank. No, you still come. We have a kind of bad feeling. Our relationship with the Kier Aret. It may have been reversed. If you can't fight back, then try to buy some time. Wait until another battle is over. We'll gather our forces to deal with him. When you hear it, you can nod. Another party, the SAO's own body. It's almost done now. He's looking at the perfect SAO in front of him, happy to utter, "It's finally fixed." He looked straight ahead without even noticing. Behind him in the air right now, I don't know where a door came from. That door is the reason. Beneath the House of the World, everything is painted, used to bring Tran Hung back to Liao City. After the door is painted, he looked at Shen Hung and smiled. Remember clearly, we must show off the power of our Taoists. Tran Hung clasped his hands respectfully and replied that the disciple understood. The corners of his mouth were slightly raised, then quickly walked back in the door. The city has just come out. I have seen the SAO setting of Bakui. It's at the bottom. Tran Hung stood up and looked around. Observe the situation. Dormitory at the bottom. I also noticed the appearance of Chen. He looked up at the enemy. I can't understand in my heart. He's not in my SAO. I swallowed it in my stomach. Why did you jump out here? Tran Hung is also amazing right now. The Kier turrets were destroyed and SAO. It doesn't have as many disadvantages as I thought. Right now, he noticed that he was standing next to Justin. Chen Hung could not help but raise his mouth a little. That's a coincidence. He finished speaking in front of the surprised eyes. He disappeared on the spot. Not waiting for the police to react, appeared behind his back and grabbed him by the neck. Sweating out of his sweat, he looked at the enemy. It doesn't make any thoughtless moves. Chen looked at him and asked, "You may be the true soul of the world. I have something to ask you. Please coordinate a little bit." Suddenly angry again, scream no. He's just a junior. I'm lucky to have that. But dare to threaten the incarnation of disaster. Like my great-grandfather. Tran Hung saw him screaming excitedly. Use the power immediately. He was strangled by him. 2 white eyes. Follow the scream of the Lord. Behind Tran Hung, his cold star has also crawled up. The evil god stared at Tran Hung. Tran Hung saw that. Then you know that Bak Zhu has transferred his soul to the SAO. He turned his head and looked very sharp. See if you don't want to coordinate. At the same time on the other side. Recovery is currently in place. Non-stop yawning short, yawning long. It's not far away. The evil lie is constantly using the blood wheel. Attack him. Because the tiger now has an immortal body. So these attacks, I couldn't hurt him anymore. You see the evil, hiding in the fog of attack. He stood still for the enemy to fight. Mouth doesn't even stop poking this provocation. You don't just have a little bit of that. I wasn't very excited about SAO. Come out here. I'll make sure to stand still and let you fight. The devil is hiding not far behind a giant. Listen to these words of the tiger. He's not angry either. Incarceration is very good. If it wasn't for this body being so weak. The Lord has given you beauty. But it's unbelievable. How is it that this guy suddenly again owns the most top-grade immortal diamond body? Obviously, he wasn't like that when he was fighting. When the false gods of other worlds come to this world, they're not just picking a legacy trick. Why? His immortal golden body. It was obviously not after practice that there was. How can he ignore the rules and inherit two tricks of being at the same time? Beneath the Udo. Dance through glass to observe the situation. After, when you hear the words of evil, you fall into the trap. After a while, he opened his mouth and said, "The world is full of wonder. And we don't rule out the possibility of some kind of power to make the world a better place. That specifically creates a trick. It's able to transfer power around the world. This Arhat can break the 1 times 0 rule. Except he'll keep breaking the rules, getting stronger and stronger. Withdraw. We don't currently have the conditions to defeat." He quickly announced this news to others. "We must solve him before he's strengthened to the point where there's no weakness." Evil Lie nodded. "Yes, but right now, behind him inside the fog, a photo body appears with the sound, 'I finally found you.' The devil is terrified to hear this sound. This sound is not. The tiger slowly appeared in front of him. 'The shame you brought me, I will give it back to you in its entirety.' The damned devil moved the scene to the other side. The devil suspected listening seriously for a while. Suddenly I remember now. Hearing you say that, I discovered I seem to have forgotten something. I can only say in advance that before coming to Liao City, someone reminded me to be careful. When I saw him stop, I asked, 'Be careful what?' The devil shook his head. 'I don't remember anymore.' The devil can't remember forever. He pointed to the back and said, 'But he certainly remembers it.' Looking behind his back is very difficult to understand. There's no mother. At this time, the capital suddenly appeared. 'You are looking for me?' The devil quickly replied, 'That's right. We're hit by someone else's assassination. I forgot a part of my memory you checked. See what's missing.' When the Lord heard that, he nodded. One eye, and then there's a flash of light. Somewhere else. It's through a small mirror. Observe the situation of the people. Strictly speaking, it is also extremely difficult to understand. It stopped. It shouldn't be. As usual. Surely they can guess. We are extending the time for the Bodhisattva to descend. Life and death like this. Why didn't they act? At this time, the wind station was also chased here. I can see the ocean standing there. He didn't hesitate to swing his sword. This time, the body is also wrong. Glancing back at her, but the long sword came. Fresh blood immediately splashed. The wind just landed on the ground. The mouth immediately asked, "Got it, Sao?" The wind station stared in front of the landing uncertain. The mouth that heard that was incomprehensible screamed, "What is not sure? You didn't cut him in the neck." I really did cut him in the head. But under the scrutiny of the eye, there's more of my temple. It's inside his body. It's moving in a non-human direction. At an astonishing speed. Qin Yang is on the opposite side right now. Above the neck where the wound that the wind station left. There's something inside that's constantly cursing. Scrap, but in such a short period of time. He was attacked twice. When you hear them loud, you scream. Shut up, you're doing fine with me. Then look at the wind. Your words are bizarre. Is there a place we don't look like? The state of the air naturally replied. Everywhere is not the same as the ocean. The wound is now completely closed. He looked thoughtful. I think I've heard this before. Where did it come from? That's right, 2 years ago. When we come to work, I met a very talented young swordsman. He said the same words as you. Haha, you all like to say things like this. The wind station was a little agitated. What's that person's name? The cold eyes set out. The name seems to be a postcard. When you hear this name, you are in a storm. He gritted his teeth and said, "Raw as you." Seeing the wind station agitated like that, my face is also seriously asked. Such a big reaction, you know, Sao. Two sharp eyes are not looking at him. Only known enemies kill disciples. Today, here. Let's make a payment. Move the scene back to the kneeling crowd. After using the clairvoyant, now picture all previous actions of the kneeling people is slowly emerging in the eyes of the capital. Watch until the two demons enter the maze. See the Antarctic foot soldiers standing on one side watching. The capital immediately joined the memory. Appeared next to him. Why are you in the same place, with the people of the world gone? Antarctic foot soldiers glance wind reciprocating. This is the order of the original God. But we can't believe that the world that we've chosen. It is your base again. I was a little surprised to ask. Why can you look out? Antarctica foot soldiers calmly replied. It's not so obvious, Sao. Hell in this world has fallen. The chief imam who holds life and death is unknown. I happen to meet the second God. I am in your bad condition. The master of martyrdom. Have absolute control over fellow practitioners. If this world, there is only your second God. Ever since the gods invade the earth of this world, you have been martyred by the master of life. Pull into the battlefield. He is also dead at the same time, but you're not. Is there a clearer answer than this? After listening to him explain, he was quiet. You two just stood there silently. His own part probing the enemy. After a while, the new capital once again broke the silence. Change the subject. The master uses dream magic. It is your servant. Why don't you know? He is already a man of evil spirits. Antarctica foot soldiers remain extremely calm. Of course we know. Style, I was surprised to see him so calm. Why did you choose him? He is the priest of the Christmas sacrifice. There are many foreign gods wandering outside this world. Once the entrance of the passage is opened, the capital has not finished yet. The Antarctic foot force has spoken. And that also means those demons can overcome the defense by the chief priests of this world. The alliance created and will follow in the footsteps of the Buddha, bringing power into this world. We all understand what you say, but we also have our difficulties. Here's foreign gods when attacking the celestial world. We've realized that our muscles are not there. You are also looking for a solution to solve this problem. The number of fairies. The outside god finds the essence. Attacks and serious injuries are on the rise. We can only use tricks that are higher risk. I want to turn the situation around. Feudal capital refused for comments. Ask others if they agree. The Antarctic foot soldier doesn't quite agree, but at least tacitly admit it. After death against your will. The defense is pretty stable. Was originally broken by the foreign gods. This world is also difficult. It can resist the invasion of foreign gods. If in the future the gods are outside, it's bringing more strategy into the world. The balance will be broken immediately. After listening to everything, the city is quiet. After a while, the memory ends up returning to reality. Look at the strange creatures inside the Kier fog. The capital is not out of fear. The beauty is amazing. It's the same as the stupid woes. But it's much more intelligent. When you're developing magic with individuals that have been marked as objects, it's bringing a very small amount of evil breath into it. Then step by step change your mind. and your spirit is bewitched by this kind of trick. Compared to the king we met here. While he was thinking, the devil was at his side.